All right. Hey, no, that was pretty smooth, I will say. I'm going to give myself props for that one. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of Dames and Dorks, hosted by the Inside All Day podcast. We're going to be talking about a very controversial topic today, Barbie, since it's been a controversial topic for 2023. I'm Nadia, player 1 of the Inside All Day podcast. I'm so happy for everyone to be joining us today. Today, we have our first ever guest as well. So yay to that. Golf clap. Nobody wants to join me in golf clap. So before we introduce our Ken, I'm going to let the Barbies introduce themselves. And we'll start with you, Lily. Go ahead. Tell the people who you are.
Hey guys, I'm Lily. So I see a whole bunch of you already in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know some of you are actually like different time zones. So thank you guys so much for being here and spending it with us. We have a really great show for you guys today. And we have a really cool guest. So thank you.
All right. And Mags. I know Mags, pretty Mags. Tell the people who you are.
I am Magitech Mags. Of course, I am everywhere all at once. Sometimes it feels that way. But yes, I'm ready to get into all the topics tonight. And I see everybody in the chat. Thank you, mods, for also being here and monitoring the chat and making it a good discussion as well. And I am ready to definitely have our first guest ever on the podcast, our very first Ken. So
yep.
Can't wait to get into it.
Nomi, take it away.
Hi, I'm Nomi Without You. You can find me on my own channel called Nomi Without You. I'm one of the Barbies here on the channel. I like to bring humor to everything. I'm excited to have our first guest. Wow. Hopefully I can speak correctly.
All right.
I've been sick for a week, so excuse me. But I'm excited to have our first guest, Lofty, here to talk about anything and everything Ken.
Yes.
and horses.
Last,
and horses, yes.
Patriarchy.
And horses, yeah. Our last Barbie, Dr. Rachel.
Hi, Barbies and Kens. I'm obviously Dr. Rachel. I have a channel on YouTube called Adeline Crafting. And you can actually see my background here is a little bit different. Because my own personal pen has helped me finally set it up. I am all moved into Florida.
Oh, looks so cool.
Finally. Very excited to finally be doing something from this place now. But you can find me on YouTube. You can find me Saron_cosplay on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Very cool. And then for our guest, our Ken Enough guest, our first guest, Lofty.
Hi.
Who did our introduction video too. Tell the people who you are.
Well, I forgot to give myself a golf clap. Let me do that quick.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So yes, I'm here to join the panel. Thank you for inviting me. I just am some guy that does fun meme videos on the internet. LoftiPixels is my YouTube channel, and I'm on Twitter also. And I make just funny videos and have fun and talk about movies and video games and anime and stuff.
Oh, anime.
So
wow,
yeah.
Man. Yeah, anime. The only one on this. Oh, maybe Mags too, but
I love anime.
Yeah, I think the two of us are the only one. I'm going to say hi to the chat and then we'll get into Barbie. How about that, guys? Sounds good?
Yes.
Nice.
Sure.
All right. Who we got in chat? We got Samuel the Infamous.
Hey, Samuel.
Lawrence. Knight.
Yeah,
I believe
Larry
this is all on your side.
Yeah, this is on my side. Me on my live stream over here.
Gravy.
Hey, Gravy.
I don't know who this is, Dr. Rachel.
Who's that?
I wonder who. Definitely not Jed.
Yeah. Oh wait.
I was like, hey, I know that one. Miss Sassy.
Sassy. We got Shadowhawk.
Hey, Shadow.
Hi, Shadu.
Who else do we got here? Nomi's in her own channel. Mando.
Hey, Mando.
Driving.
Hey, Mando.
Driving and texting, man. No.
Yeah,
No.
Don't do
Just
that.
be listening and
Highly
listen.
discouraged. Yes.
Clifton in the
Hey,
house.
Clifton.
Hey, Clifton.
Who else? Am I missing anybody? I'm looking down. Let's see. Obviously, our great mods. Mr. Tickle Trunk is one of them. Of course, I highlight my own Twitter. Follow.
There you go.
It's Nomi,
Yeah, he's putting all the links in the chat for everybody. So
Dr.
I
Rachel.
love it.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mod.
Mr. Tickle Trunk, if you can hear me, which I think you can, make sure you post also. Oh, you did. Never mind. You beat me to it. Lofty is here. And then I
you.
think we have Josh.
What's up,
Okay.
Josh?
I think
Where's
that's it,
Alan?
Yeah,
Alan just didn't show up, I guess.
it's
Alan
okay.
didn't get
Oh,
the
Alan.
memo.
Oh, he didn't get the memo.
No,
Alan,
Yeah.
come on, Alan.
it's okay. We don't
Oh,
need Alan.
Yeah.
We're gonna dive into our first main topic, which is Lily's favorite, Barbie, which everybody loved the Barbie movie, right?
Yes, there wasn't a
100% of
single
people.
person
100% of
didn't
people.
like it. Yeah.
there was there's no divisiveness over it, was
No.
there?
No.
Of course not.
Totally
Of
not.
course not.
So I didn't get a chance to go to the IMAX showing of it, but I believe Lily and Nomi did. Mags and Rachel, did you?
I did not have the time. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't
It's
have
okay.
the time either.
That's all right.
It's okay. I mean, you're doing yourself a favor
Yeah.
of saving money.
You didn't miss anything.
Yes.
There.
Apparently, I heard the drinks were better afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, I was still sick when I went with Lily, and I was just drinking pitchers of water, and Lily is a witness. I'm still sick, so I'm just bring the water. That's all I care for right now,
I
guys.
think our waiter was a little concerned.
He was concerned.
Was there a big difference between the initial viewing of it to this one?
No.
No? Like you could
No.
wait for extended cut on streaming or
It's because what I had understood is I thought that they were gonna give us like a cut scene that's gonna give us like, oh, we're gonna get Barbie 2 or we're gonna get like a Ken movie or something. But it was a bunch of like deleted scenes and it was a lot of behind the scenes, like how they filmed everything. So I don't know if it was just worth it just to go see that stuff because it ended up on the internet like the next day. So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
our own personal Ken today. What did you think of? Have you seen the movie? You did, right?
I
Lofty?
did. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it again 2 nights ago, and when it came out on streaming.
What is your thoughts on it? Because I know it's very controversial, especially with men, of it being a man-hating movie. I mean, I personally liked it. I think people kind of the satire. Sometimes people don't understand. Maybe it's a satire on the whole idea of the patriarchy. But that's my opinion on it. I know art is subjective, but what did you think about it?
I saw it in theaters. I saw it again. I actually like the movie, and I think it's I don't think it's the best movie of the year, but I do think it's actually really a good movie. And I think you're right. I think this movie has a lot of satire and a lot of sort of just like making fun of things that are gender related or whatever, and people they were presented in a way in the script and the dialogue that was sort of like, it could have been, if you took it literally, like it could be offensive, but I just think there was enough. And maybe it's because I saw the context of Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie doing the press tours where they sort of explained their motivations, and it to me it just came off as sort of satirical and in a good way. So I thought they did a good job. I thought some of this the part of the movie towards the end when Ken, we could talk about that, but like I think the third act was like the weakest, but the rest of the movie I liked a lot.
Okay.
But yeah.
I agree with you. I think this movie put too much of a divide amongst people because of the year we've had of everybody looking for, in a sense, like woke things in movies, looking for reasons to like boycott movies, going overboard on it in a sense, instead of just saying like, okay, this is just a movie. I mean, most Hollywood is left-leaning in their thoughts and processes and stuff. So like going into any movie, as far as with any art, like video games and stuff, creators are going to put their own agendas into it. It's just over time. That's how it's always been. So I feel like people were very hot to jump on the topic because if you don't take it as a satire, it does come off like it's dividing the sexes.
Yeah,
it does a little bit, but
yes, just a little bit.
But it doesn't really. If you really take the whole into the context of the entire movie, including the ending, it's very sort of human. It's more of a humanist film, I think, than a genderist movie.
A gender-based film.
Gender-based. Yeah, I agree with.
Gender-based.
To me, I think it has a positive message about motherhood, but that's how I took it. I took it as at the end Barbie choosing motherhood over, because Barbies, you can be whatever you want. You can be an astronaut, you can be a doctor, you could pretty much be whatever you want. But also you can be a mom too. That is an option, and that's how I took it. That she was, especially the whole gynecologist joke at the end to me is like, oh, she's making sure all the parts are working so that she can be a mom.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Yeah.
This is the second time that like me and Nomi went to go watch it. We kind of noticed like a couple of things that we didn't notice on the first showing. Like, yeah, it kind of is showing you a positive outlook like on motherhood. But at the same time, if you notice, all of the moms that they showed, it wasn't with the family. It was just the mom and the daughters, or the mom and the kids. So I was like, are they actually promoting like a happy family, or are they just promoting single motherhood? Because I didn't see any dads.
Interesting.
Well,
yeah, because that's interesting.
The dad was there, but he was just sort of a kind of a beta male.
A joke.
Yeah, because even when they're in the park, somebody made a really good observation that when she's sitting there by herself and she's trying to figure out like, okay, this is the real world, like what's happening. If you notice, the people that she looks at, she's looking at what I think is like two men talking to each other, which you could say they're maybe like a couple, but they're having a really great conversation. And then you see a mom with her little girl in the stroller, and they're also very happy. But then they show a woman and a man that you could also see as a couple, but they're angry and arguing with each other. So I'm like, what are you trying to like say?
But at the same time, though, she wasn't like. Barbie was feeling bad for the guy because they showed him again and he was sad and she felt bad for him. So I don't think it was like a negative thing on that guy, because she did, you know what I mean? The girl left and he was like sad. I think that was just showing like that relationships are difficult. That's just kind of how I saw it. But
relationships amongst people doesn't matter whether from different backgrounds, different faiths, different situations, it's going to be difficult anyway, because we're all going to be coming from our own perceived for lack of a better phrase, because I hate this term now, lived experience, because it's now been overused, but it's kind of basically from that perspective. So I can understand where people are coming from that angle of it, if that makes sense.
Also, I think the father, some people are looking a little bit too hard into it, and I think the father being a beta male is just, sometimes it's funny to make fun of beta males. I do it all the time.
I'm not gonna lie, they set themselves up.
No, like, they exist. They're real. Like, are we never allowed to make fun of them? I think we should be allowed to.
Also, like in history of sitcoms and shows, dads have always been known to be the comedic relief in the family.
Yeah. True. You like Modern Family.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, you can look at Phil. You can look at far back. It's from like the 90s type of sitcoms, or early 2000s, like Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, all that kind of stuff. You can see, or I mean, I know he's not a dad, but it's like you can see the husband or the male main character being the butt end of jokes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. True.
But you can also find there's a balance to it, which I haven't seen. Like take Home Improvement, for example.
Yes. That's a good
Tim
show.
is always the butt of jokes, right? But at the end, he's still a strong father figure, head of the household. He, makes sure things are fixed around the house and stuff, and make sure his kids are taken care of. So there has to be a balance when writing these characters. And I agree with you. Beta males exist, just like some form of weird females too.
Right.
It's humor, whatever. But there's no balance to it lately in characters, I feel.
Right. Yeah, and even the Cosby Show has had a great like parental sort of balance. I think they were like, sort of, the kids were like, they were sort of boomers, the parents, but they were strict. But the dad was like, he was a good dad, but he was sort of goofy, and I think it was a good balance. But like, yeah, I think modern stuff tends to lean into the extreme goofiness of like the father figure.
Yeah.
Family is a good show, but it is true that like Phil is just kind of a dumb idiot.
Yes. But also his wife comes off as in a sense, like a bitch, in a sense,
That's
like
true.
a very like
That's true.
unlikable alpha female, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
And
true.
so with us getting mostly written beta males, we're also getting, the Karen. She's basically a Karen in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
The description of it, the type A personality, always having to be in control, always having to have things her way, and then calling her husband basically a dumbass, which doesn't show a really healthy relationship either. I feel that, but that's my opinion with that. Speaking of relationships, I guess there's a divorce lawyer that links Barbie, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift at tours to the uptake of breakups.
I
Women
don't.
are- They're feeling
kinda
their
believe that
power.
statistic. Yeah.
Yeah, they're feeling their
Yeah,
power while
I
going
believe
to
it.
see Barbie, Taylor, Beyonce, and then they think, I don't need this. If Barbie is the reason why you break up, there's a lot more problems with your
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay. Seeing the chain of event and things, Taylor Swift is now dating Travis Kelce of the
Yeah.
skyrocket because any game that he's going to be at, chances are Taylor's going to be there too. So of course the Swifties are going to come in not knowing a thing about football, but they're going to bother their husbands or their boyfriends, like trying to find a connection with that. Yeah.
My favorite trend nowadays is these videos of wives going around saying that this football player now has a career because he's dating Taylor Swift. He had a career prior to it.
Yeah.
All of their husbands.
Oh yeah, that's the
angry
reason.
with saying it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he was
it was
nobody
Taylor's-
before.
Yeah.
As some of us who are football fans, it's kind of like, nah.
He's the biggest.
Yeah.
He's the best tight end in the entire NFL. It's funny.
Yes,
I know.
currently.
But he's
yes.
also Taylor Swift's boyfriend, so that knocks everything out and puts that as number one of
Right.
what this guy is.
Right.
She would be the headliner, and he'd be the second villain, basically.
I don't
according
get
to the
it. I'm
Swifties.
not a Swiftie fan. I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't get it
I haven't
either.
liked her since when she was country. So
Yeah, I don't get
Thank
it.
you, Mags. Oh my gosh. Were we not talking about this the other day, Nomi?
We were talking about this the
Yeah,
other
I
day.
said
I
that
forgot she started
yeah,
her career
I
off in
preferred
country.
her when she was country.
yes,
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah. And now I'm just like, okay.
a lot of
But
us
it's
are
just
like that.
Yeah, the interesting
I am
thing about
too.
this though, like this article, is that women are breaking up with their boyfriends over Barbie, Taylor Swift, and like Beyonce, right? And I guess I can't speak to Barbie because she doesn't end up with Ken. But like Beyonce is married and she's a mom and she has kids. Taylor Swift is now in a relationship and she's very happy. So
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand is that like why are these women taking their songs out of context and being like, no, I'm going to make myself miserable because this is what they're singing about. But in their personal life, that's not what's going on in their personal life. They're like happily married with kids or in relationships.
Well, I don't know
That's
about
what's so
happily
weird to me.
married or
That's
Yeah,
true.
Beyonce's had a lot of,
Good
but she's
relationship.
married and she's got kids. So
Sometimes
that's
they
why I'm
stay
like-
married for the money. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Don't come after me, Illuminati. All right.
I know I'm all Nadia. Shut.
Yeah.
You like to live, Nadia.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there
the
was
so the
an
girl
up-
the I was gonna say the girl. You think the fans of Taylor Swift don't? You think they want her to remain single in the same way that maybe the fans of like somebody like Lizzo want her to remain like really heavy? Because it's sort of like that's who she's
Or
appealed
like
to her
Adele.
whole life, or Adele.
Yeah.
Or what about? Now, I don't know if there's a male equivalent, but I'm thinking of like Ryan Gosling. I mean, I kind of it's more of a joke, but like guys idolize Ryan Gosling as like this sort of Sigma, like kind of male like role model, but he's like sort of he's married. Isn't he married to what's her name?
Eva Longoria.
Eva Longoria, and he's actually not.
Mendez, my bad. It was one of the
he's not-
Evas.
He's not really the kind of guy that like we imagine he is, but it's sort of more like a fantasy thing. But I don't think guys take that super seriously. It's more of like a joke.
I think what happens is some of these women seem to have too much of an interpersonal. It's a fantasy, but interpersonal relationship with these types of celebrities, and so therefore they project their own whatever is going on in their lives with these types of songs or whatever. Like we can separate the song from the person from our own lives. I mean, we can listen to like a breakup song and still be living our lives and be dating somebody. It's just because some of it is a fun beat or a fun, fun song to sing to or listen to. But at the same time, some people just take it to the next level where it's like literally part of their identity, and that's the problem.
That's bad. I mean, I watched a lot of when I was dating my ex, we would enjoy watching sort of depressing breakup romance movies, and it was just like it had nothing to do with like it's like something you just watch like so Eternal Sunshine, I guess, is a good example.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good movie.
And it's like so that's not really an uplifting like romantic couple movie. It's sort of depressing, and then but it sort of is a little bit uplifting at the same time. But like I just separate, like I don't, these people can't separate their fantasies from reality. It's not good. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's the same thing that happened with Barbie, where people might have gone in thinking this was a relationship movie where it's not? It really, because they don't in a sense put Barbie and Ken together. There's no romance. I mean, there's
attempted romance.
I wouldn't even say Ken like loves Barbie. I think it's an infatuation almost with it, mostly because the two of them are placed together because
Ken
they're both.
Yeah, but Ken is the idea is that they're being played with by people. So wouldn't Ken's entire existential crisis be that he has really like no control and he's just being like sort of manipulated by women into thinking that he has to be this sort of cuck kind of obsessive like guy, and he's not. That's not really who he is. So he in the end he kind of breaks out of that. That's kind of what I got from it. But
I picked up from it is who plays with Barbies. It's mostly children, and children don't have an idea of a lustful type of relationship. They do have the ideas of husband and wife. They have the ideas of girlfriend, boyfriend. But I think if they think of it as labels, not as an intimate relationship. So like when I played with Barbies, Barbie and Ken was together, but they were never in a intimate relationship together. They were just assumed to be together. So
but it's because that doesn't make sense, because I guess like whoever's playing with Barbie, which was the mom, so who's playing with Ken in the real world? Because it's not the mom, because she doesn't
have his own kid.
It's probably just the generic representation of how normal kids play with Ken, which is like they barely think about him, and they just like they'll bring him to a tea party once in a while, and then they'll forget about him, and then like he doesn't even have a house, right? So that's probably, it's just sort of a generic. The only one that they showed was the Barbie's stereotypical Barbie's human counterpart.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah. Oh, there's one thing that bothered me about Ken. I don't know. Do you guys agree with this? He had his epic song, that was so good. That musical number with all the Kens, and they had this fight, and they got to and then like during the song, they actually like came together and like bonded, and then realized that they can support each other, and then it was such a great character arc, and then the movie decided to essentially throw it away because right after that he's back to trying to like make out with Barbie again and being an idiot. They that's what I didn't like about the ending. I thought he should have had his own agency instead of Barbie telling him that he's Knuff. They've discovered that they were Knuff in that musical number, and then he forgot about it right after that. I didn't like
that's what I said to Nomi too when we were in the movie, remember? Like afterwards, because that's what we noticed too, where like we're like, wait, because if you listen to the lyrics of the song,
Yeah.
it actually gives you Ken's arc in the song.
Yes.
Because it starts
Mhm.
off with Ken being like all miserable, like, oh, I'm always like number 2 and I just want to like be myself or whatever. But then at the end, if you listen to the lyrics, he's telling you that he already knows that he's Kenough and he's great at doing all this stuff. And he tells you, yeah, I'm just Ken and I'm cool with that. I know who I am now. And then all of a sudden, yeah, they show up with the Barbies and nothing happens. It literally just goes back to where it was before. Everyone ends up in the same place. Nothing changed. And I think that's the issue that I have with the movie too, is that even if I didn't like the rest of it, they had a chance to give you kind of a really cool ending, even if Ken and Barbie don't end up together. But like nothing changed because all the Kens were like, well, can we have jobs too and stuff? But like, no one ended up better. So that's why I was like, okay, so what was the point of this movie? And then Barbie just left and I'm like, okay. and now what's going on?
I
Like,
think you're right that the third act seemed a little
Messy.
It was
Rushed.
it was rushed. It was messy, and it didn't give a satisfying conclusion.
No.
Except for Barbie. I mean,
that's probably the only thing that really got the conclusion that the only character that really truly got the conclusion that she got. So, yeah, I can agree with that.
I forgot to mention this earlier. But I told Lily. I think I made a. Speaking of that song, I made a music video. I don't know if you guys want to show it or not. It's
Absolutely.
I literally. It's kind of funny and embarrassing. It's kind of. But it's just me singing that song as my VTuber Ken. I could post it if you want. You don't have to show it, but it's kind of funny.
No, we're going to show it.
Yeah,
show it.
I want it.
Do you want to send it to me?
Oh, I put it in the private chat. I can send it.
Okay.
Or it's up to you.
No, I got it. I got it.
But I made
All
it
right, hold
before
on.
the movie even came out because I heard that song. I played it on repeat a bunch of times because it was really catchy.
It's a good song.
And I know it's a good song. It's
then
like
fun
maybe...
fact, Slash did the guitar for that movie, for the song.
Bass.
Yeah.
Bass
And then
Slash.
the background vocals are actually all the other Kens. So they actually recorded their voices and it's all them.
Oh wow.
singing it.
That
All right, I'm gonna play
musical-
this.
Oh yeah.
Chat. I hope you're ready.
It's cringe. It's cringe, but I mean it's kind of funny. I don't know. Oh boy.
Doesn't seem tonight.
I love it. I love it.
I'm always number 2. No one knows how hard I tried. Oh, I have
This is well
feelings
done.
that I can't explain.
Oh my
Like
god.
2 hours.
Driving me insane. All my life been so polite, 'cause I'm just Ken.
Oh my god.
Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die in life?
Fantastic.
Agility? I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the 10 and fight for me? I'm just Ken and I'm enough, and I am great at doing stuff. So hey, check me out. Yeah, I'm just Ken.
Fireworks, I
I'm just Ken.
I'll see you.
Beautiful.
On the Malibu
Oh my god. Oh my
Go clap. 100%.
It's perfect. Oh my
That
gosh,
was
we're
what-
clapping.
World premiere,
I-
guys.
so many Driver and Blade Runner memes.
I love how I saw like all the clips of all the different Ryan movies in there because it's just Ken's
good.
timeline.
It's just Ken, man. And then I had to get a Barbenheimer explosion at the end.
By the way, just letting you know, we may or may not get hit for that. So just throwing it out there.
No, I'm monetized for it. You should be fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the background music. It's the,
Oh my gosh, somebody said LoftiPixels 2024.
I am curious. Backtrack before the movie. What did everybody think when they announced that? I mean, Margot Robbie made sense for Barbie in my head, but what did you think when they announced Ryan Gosling as Ken?
I loved it.
At first I was a little hesitant about it because, knowing Ryan Gosling in his previous films, it just didn't seem, because I knew it would be kind of like a girly type of film. So it's like Ryan Gosling in a girly type of film is kind of, strange to me, and everything. But seeing some of the some of the pictures of what on set and everything, I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. I can get on board with this. And then, of course, to me, my favorite character in the movie is Ken. So Ryan Gosling sold it for me.
Not
Watching
Marge.
it.
Not Marge.
No,
my
she. I
favorite-
mean, she did. She definitely played the part well. But I think the star of the show was literally Ryan Gosling. He deserves. Hopefully, he gets truly nominated for a best supporting actor, for this, because I think he deserves it. To be quite honest.
Well,
Yeah, he does.
that's an interesting.
would
I
just-
see that. I hear people saying that a lot. I love Ryan Gosling in this movie, but I don't think he was that level of like. Do you think he's like best supporting actor worthy? Because I mean, I'm comparing it to other. I mean,
Lily's like, oh yes, 100%.
Yes, I'm already planning his campaign for the Oscars.
Lily's ready to fight to
man.
help him win.
I
Yeah, I
am
know.
ready. I am so ready for
Lily,
it.
I will-
Aligns.
Lily,
it
if you
aligns with how
act,
chaotic his life is. Oh, sorry, Max.
no,
I mean-
Lily, if you organize it, like you're like the organizing head committee of it, I will be your supporter. So there you go.
look, I'll do it for the memes, but I mean, genuinely, I'm comparing this performance to like past winners like Heath Ledger's Joker. It's just I don't think they're quite in the same category, but
But that would be brilliant. Can you
But, like,
imagine everyone's face at the Oscars if
I
Ken
hope.
wins an
Dude,
Oscar?
what if-
Like,
I don't think he would.
what
Well,
if
I think he
instead of
might get nominated for supporting
Maybe.
actor.
Yeah.
I don't think he would win. Not up
I mean,
against Oppenheimer.
he got
and other
snubbed
movies.
for La La
Oppenheimer.
Land, so
Yeah, he
Yeah.
should have won in La La Land.
But La La
Should've won
Land
for
is
La La Land.
La La Land is an Oscar. Like La La Land was set to be an Oscar. Like there's
And
Barbie to
Emma,
me
whatever, won,
would
but
probably-
he didn't.
Barbie would probably win in set design, makeup, and hair.
Costumes.
Like something like that. But I don't think it would win in performance. I think it would more on the aesthetic.
Yeah,
but I
think
can see
Margot
him
has
being
been
nominated, but not winning.
Yeah, I'm just like but would it be funny though if he did win and instead of an Oscar they gave him a Ken doll?
Yes.
So
That
if
would
he
be
does win,
hilarious.
somebody is gonna
That would
make
be
that a
so
meme.
funny. I would do
It's
it.
because it's hilarious. Like if you watch him in interviews and stuff, like, and he talks about his life, he's so chaotic. So to me,
Yeah.
this would just be like the cherry on top of his life that he wins an Oscar for Ken instead of all of his like Oscar-worthy performances.
Like the
Well,
Notebook.
You know,
Yeah.
this has happened before with Robert Downey Jr. was nominated for blackface in Tropic Thunder. So I think
Right.
like goofy performances like that have been nominated before, you know.
But I mean, really honestly, nowadays, who really cares about the Oscars? It's somebody in the chat said it is a popularity. They already know ahead of time who's going to win. There's not like it's based on look how many times Leonardo DiCaprio was passed over. It's really based on
It's political.
yeah, it is.
Usually.
It is. So I see them more so giving it to, and especially since we had a Nolan film this year, I feel Nolan's going to sweep it
Oh,
just
yes.
based on popularity.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is probably going to get nominated in the same category
That's
if he gets
true.
nominated too.
Yeah.
Right.
Best
'cause he
supporting
was in
actor for
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know
Which, I
Josh
mean-
Hartnett was in Oppenheimer. I haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet.
he was. He was
Yeah.
in
Like
he was in Oppenheimer.
literally every single
Poor
random
guy.
actor that you can think of was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I love
Weird.
Josh Hartnett. Penny
too.
Dreadful was the last time.
Penny
I've
Dreadful's
seen him.
great.
Oh, it's so good.
That's an underrated. It was good.
Like
yeah.
like
Yeah.
just watch it and every single time
Lucky-
a scene changes, you're gonna be that Leo meme where you're pointing at the TV like, oh, I know who that is.
Have you
Literally
seen-
the whole movie.
Have you seen Lucky Number 11?
No.
wanna see it.
Oh, it's
Mm-mm.
Bruce Willis and Josh Hartnett. It's really
Wait, no,
good movie.
I have seen that.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna sweep every award. But
Oh, yeah.
Barbie might be I think might take home the production design.
Mhm.
I think so. A big thing about this movie that like not a lot of people talk about is the production design and the cinematography because Greta Gerwig is basically an art filmmaker, an artist. She's inspired by a lot of classical films like Wizard of Oz, you know, The Truman Show, a lot of French New Wave films. She's listed a bunch of movies that she was inspired by for Barbie, and a lot of people, there are a lot of older movies, so they might not be, you know, maybe you haven't seen Singing in the Rain, but they're very clearly, and oh yeah, and then there's like Oklahoma references, there's Hitchcock references, there's Grease, you know. I just think this movie is, in terms of its artistic the appreciation I have for it is like really, really high. The movie itself, I think, is like a 7 out of 10 in terms, like, with like the plot, the story, and everything. But she is fantastic with like production design. Like those Barbie things, did you think they were miniatures or like real set? Like I couldn't even tell.
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
they
real
built
set.
the real set. Yeah,
It's
they
I
built
think
one
the
of the
real
were-
set.
reasons why I
Yeah.
liked the D&D movie this year. It's the same reason with this Barbie movie. It's
Yeah.
utilizing being on set, utilizing actual props, not relying heavily on CGI. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's not overwhelming where it takes you out of the story. Just like most modern day movie blockbusters now is probably 70% CGI, 30% being on set. And I like, even though they were shooting on a studio, they actually built the set and built the houses and everything.
Yeah, because
They-
even the scenes where they're going from Barbie Land to the real world, you know how they do like the rocket ship and like the bicycle and all that stuff? All of that was practical too. None of that was CGI. They actually had them in the middle of like all these paper things that they were moving around to make it look that way. So, I mean, I appreciate that. I won't knock it with all of that. I thought that was really, really like greatly done, which is kind of sad because I wish we had seen more of Barbie Land because they wasted all this money and time and effort and everyone building this beautiful set, and I don't think we saw enough of it.
No,
We saw
you're right.
basically just a lot of Barbie's like close-up shots, and we didn't really get to see like a lot of the other stuff only when she was driving towards the beach. But I mean, why build these beautiful sets if you're not gonna show them off?
Yeah.
The beginning part of the set where, you know, she wakes up and everything, part of the movie, that was really cool. Like I really enjoyed the amount of effort they put into that sort of set. But
I
kind
want to
of
live there.
exactly. but beyond that, like yeah, it's kind of, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of it, if that makes sense.
I would
Because the
highly
Yeah, I
beach
agree.
looks so pretty, and we didn't see like a expanded shot of it. And I'm like, I want to see more of the beach. That looks so funny with like the water and then the mermaids popping out every once in a while. But we saw like a lot of close-up shots of them, but we didn't see like their
And the real
surrounding.
world. Yeah, the real world too.
Yeah.
But
I would highly
even-
recommend
yeah.
people to go back and see Lady Bird,
That's
one of her
true.
earlier films. That's really good, and similar to Barbie, there's a lot of religious like icons throughout the movie too, similar to Lady Bird. But Rachel, you've been quiet, so I wanted to ask your opinion on the movie.
Oh,
You're,
No,
all
I
of
didn't
us
want to
are
interrupt
giving our
anybody.
opinions, but I wanted to give you the floor a little bit too,
I'm just smiling and nodding along. No,
like a Barbie.
it was,
Hi, Barbie.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and
Say
wave.
something, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi. Hi, Barbie.
Dr. Barbie. No, it's one of those where I want to take my time and rewatch it because like I was really trying to get it done this week and I couldn't, but I saw it in theaters, and after I saw it in theaters, I had to sit in the theater for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes afterwards just trying to figure out, do I like this movie or not?
That's interesting.
And I'm still on the fence of it, of like like everyone here is saying, the production is beautiful. The Kenough the musical, like the music is really good. Some of the messaging in it I did agree with. I do also agree that the third act was definitely the weakest part, just because Barbie's the only one who really gets the sort of final send off, and it's like her storyline comes to a satisfying conclusion, and nobody else does, other than maybe like, okay, well, maybe the reason she's going to the gynecologist, of course, like Nadia was saying, is because she wants to be a mother. She likes motherhood. And that's great. That also kind of explains why she doesn't want to be with Ken, because as we know from the beginning, Ken doesn't have the parts to make that happen. So it's like, all right, well, obviously they're not going to be together because he can't help her become a mother. But yeah, it's just like all the things we're saying to promote motherhood, great. And if you approach it as like being satire, making fun of just how much they go after patriarchy and things like that, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if I look at this as satire, I think it's a good film. But I just didn't see it as like it was trying to be satire. So that made
Unintentionally
me really
based.
difficult. Yeah. So it made it really difficult for me to enjoy it from that perspective. So I'm still on the fence of like, if it's satire, it's very good. If it's not satire, it's accidentally good, I guess.
Interesting.
But I can't take it seriously.
Yeah,
like
that's what I agree. I agree with Rachel.
Yeah.
That's how I feel
It's
about it.
awkward. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
suggest you shouldn't have to do this, but I would suggest watching some of the Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig talk about the movie. There's a lot of good interviews with them, and it makes a lot more sense if you like. Maybe the movie did a bad job of like making it clear one way or another. Like Mel Brooks is a genius when it comes to satire.
Yes.
Young Frankenstein,
Absolutely.
Men in
Yeah,
Tights.
because you know that it's
Love those
satire.
films.
But with
But
this,
yeah.
I was so confused the whole time because I was like, I want to like it, but is it actually meant to be like
Yeah.
this? I didn't
That's why I was
understand.
so on the fence. But it's one of those things
Yeah.
also of like all of you were saying before, where like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and all these like musicians and actors do this too, and all kinds of people in the media. They'll say one thing, they'll promote one thing through their music or their movies or television or whatever, writing books, and then they go off and do something in their own differently in their private life. So they're promoting one message and then not living that message, and a lot of people take it too seriously. And I think this movie did the same kind of thing where, again, even whether it's satire or not, it's promoting this one thing of like, single motherhood is great, men suck. That's why none of them get a satisfying conclusion. And then in the background, all these men are doing really good things. They're actually really good actors. And so it was hard for me to take it that way. I know we shouldn't, take movies too seriously. We shouldn't try to find those messages and absolutely live them. But people do that. People hear like they're in a good relationship, like you were showing, Nadia, with that article before of what that lawyer is trying to do. People watch a movie about a breakup and they think, yeah, that's how I should live my life. I'm going to go break up with my wonderful boyfriend, or I'm going to break up with my amazing partner of 50 years because this song told me I should be okay being myself and being alone. And it's so difficult, like as a psychologist, to see that happening over and over and over again. And I think that was also one of the things of like this. I feel like this movie needs to make it more clear that no, actually don't do those things.
Yeah.
Women are great. Men are also great. So
And we both
We're just
need
great
each
at
other,
different
too.
things.
So
yeah.
I
And
agree.
you
It's
need
just
those
women
things
do a
to
lot of-
complement each other.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, women
absolutely
do a lot
need
of
both of
self.
those things to complement. Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I thought about it too. I still watching it a second time, I still don't know if I actually like it or not.
Yeah, so I'm very much on the
I'm
fence.
just waiting for someone to make an edit of just all the Ken scenes, and that's all I'm gonna watch. Because the rest of it, I'm just like.
But I will say I am really looking forward to like later in this year and probably into next year of people cosplaying as all these characters.
Oh, Halloween's
all
gonna be
the
crazy.
Barbies,
Halloween's
all
gonna
the
be
Kens.
so much fun.
I love it.
Halloween's
I
gonna be
like
fun.
all of you were talking about production and the practical sets. I love practical effects in movies and shows. But my big thing being a cosplayer is costuming. So I love looking at like the detail of the costuming. And
given Rachel 6 months, she could have made us all cowboy Barbies.
Yeah.
But no, it was one of those things of like I played with Barbies a lot as a kid. And I even still have this may be a little embarrassing to admit, but I still have a I think there's like a Y2K Christmas Barbie. She's got a little Christmas sweater and skirt on, and she goes in my family's Christmas tree every single year. So I've had her for probably decades now, and she always goes in the tree. So I still like Barbie, and I think Lily, you were saying this before, of like you were kind of on the fence about seeing it, and then like sort of the like the pictures of Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie as the characters. You're like, okay, now I'm on board. That's how it was for me, especially. God, I don't remember how late into the production it came out, but you remember the picture of just Ken and Barbie in the car driving, and he holds up the rollerblades in the back seat.
Yeah.
That's honestly the picture that sold me. I was on the fence about seeing it until I saw that picture. I'm like, that's such attention to detail, and I remember those outfits on Barbie and Ken. I'm like, I'm sold. I want to go see this movie.
I will say
Well,
that was
that's
one of
that's
the
the
coolest.
thing, though.
One of the coolest parts was they would highlight different unique outfits throughout the movie that Barbie
Yes.
has
Mhm.
had.
I
And like you,
loved
Rachel,
it.
my mom every year we would get the really like themed Barbies, but
Mhm.
obviously we weren't allowed to play with them. They were just to be collected, right? The ones in the ball gowns and like different
Of course.
themes and
They go
stuff.
in the glass shelves. And you
Yes,
just
they
look
go
at them.
in
Mhm.
the. But I agree with you too. Art is subjective. I think people sometimes take it a little too seriously. But I'm sure everybody on this panel has at some point seen a movie or TV show and have just gone down the rabbit hole of how attached they are to it.
Mhm.
For me, that comes to mind like Midnight Mass. To me, made me rethink my religion with God after watching it. I was so invoked into it. So I think you're right that
That's a
sometimes
great
people,
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good
sometimes
show.
people take it to the deep end, and I think it's subjective when you watch it. For me, Nomi, I mean, before I saw Barbie, Nomi texted me, and she's like, I'm kind of on the fence, but I think you're gonna like it. I'm like, okay. I went in liking it. Now I'm coming up on a year of losing my mom, so the whole mother and daughter storyline, in a sense, in there of passing down those memories through Barbie, because most of the time Barbie's going to be purchased by your mother, most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
stuck to me. Like I cried during the movie. I'm not afraid of it. I cried during the movie because having that loss already and having those memories of my mother made me more attached to the movie. So I think I was able to overlook a lot of things because of that base storyline in there. And
Mhm.
we just everybody left.
And then I think a lot of it where we didn't like it, that I played with Barbies a lot when I was little too. So when I first saw the pictures and like all their marketing, I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so amazing. Like I finally get to see like what I used to play with as a little girl on screen. And then I go and I think I hated it at first, like with the passion, because I was like, I don't want to see this. Like, I don't want to get reminded that I'm getting older and that all these things are happening
Cellulite?
now. Like, yes, I don't want to know that. I want to go to watch a
It's-
movie because
yeah.
it's fantasy. So when I was watching all of this, I was like, okay, but like that's where like how is it satire if most of this stuff is already happening to me?
Look,
Because I'm
we're
like, that's not
here.
satire. Like when they have like the Barbie that's all sad and everything, and I'm like, yeah, sometimes you get those feelings because you're going through a lot of stuff in your life, and I'm like, I don't want to go see a movie that's like depressing like that. And I was talking to one of my friends who really wanted to see it too, and then I asked her, I was like, hey, do you still want to go see it? Like, I'll go watch it again because of Ken. I'm good. But she's like, no, you know what? My sister and my niece saw it and they came out and they said they didn't like it. And I'm like, why? She's like, they said that it was too depressing and that it had nothing to do with Barbie. And she's like, and I used to love Barbie when I was little and I don't want to go watch something.
Yeah. There's
And
this
I'm like,
weird
oh.
there's this weird like subjective thing that happens with a lot of movies. But this like this could have been a Mario sort of movie like Mario with Barbie would have been the way that would have played out would have just been Barbie in her Barbie land and Ken and doing funny. Have you ever seen the Lego movie? Like something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could have been a movie and it would have done really well. But that's not what this movie is. This is a different version of Barbie. It's like I'm trying to think of like I like movies that make me feel sort of like if even Ryan Gosling movies like Drive and Place Beyond the Pines. Blue Valentine is a very depressing movie with Michelle Williams and Ryan Gosling. But I like the way it makes me feel. And Lost in Translation is my favorite, probably one of my favorite movies
But
ever.
there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
that Barbie, when you're little, is
Yeah.
your favorite toy because she's like got all these jobs and she's cool and stuff.
And all
So you
these
have that.
accessories. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So when you go watch that and you're expecting one thing and you get something else, you're like, what?
It's
I
weird.
don't get what's happening.
I will say this. So, you know how, like, in the beginning, they showed the OG Barbie with the bathing suit and the glasses and
Yeah.
everything. My mom actually had that Barbie when she was growing up. Now, she's a
Wow.
boomer, so you know that was her generation that actually grew up with the first line of Barbies.
Yeah.
I can tell you, if she saw this movie, she would not like this movie, because I just know her that
Yeah.
well.
I think it was marketed interesting. Now, I'm for it that it was not marketed for children at all. Looking
Right.
at
Yes,
how
very
much
true.
money was put in the marketing, but I also think it was marketed as a straight comedy,
Right.
where
Yeah.
it's not. But I don't know if I would have liked it if it was just like, in a sense, like a
Well-
raunchy comedy about Barbie or something, with Barbie and Ken, and just the whole comedy held in Barbie world. I feel like it would be overplayed very fast before Act 1 would finish. But that's my opinion on it.
I honestly think that they should have gone with the mom and daughter theme, but they should have made the daughter like maybe 12 or 13, where she's getting to that point where she's growing up and she's no longer going to play with Barbie anymore. And
Right,
that
like
could have
Toy
been
Story.
Barbie. Yeah,
Yep.
that could have been Barbie feeling those things like, oh my gosh, why do I all of a sudden have like all these different feelings that I'm not like happy all the time? But because she's transitioning into a teenager, and she like Barbie kind of finds them, helps the mom and the daughter like come together, and that would have been like such a good story of like motherhood and growing up and things like that, where you're like getting into a different stage in your life. So I don't know why they made it like this, because I think that all the families could have gone. You could have gone like all your friends going with you, and you relate to that, because there was a point in my life where all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm not going to play with Barbie anymore, and you have to put her away. And that's really sad, because that's your childhood. It's gone. I think that would have hit more
spent
with
like
people.
5 minutes of the movie kind of doing that with the flashback of her putting the thing in the, but they didn't. You're right. They could have done that more like Toy Story with Andy and his toys.
Because that was sad.
I'm
Toy
thinking,
Story.
but I'm thinking Greta was like, look, I respect the risks that she takes in her career, and this is just another good example of somebody taking risks and it paying off really well, and a lot of people like it, and she did the right thing, because it made like $1 billion.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean it's for everybody. That's just
And that's another thing. She admitted she never played with Barbie. Margot Robbie never played with Barbie. So they don't have these experiences that like me and Mags and Dr. Rachel and Nadia and Nomi all have. They don't have those experiences of having to like give up your dolls one day because you're growing up. She decided to take it into like this weird satire thing. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of us were like, what? What is this?
I had a Barbie.
Oh, God. Good for you, Lofty.
So my mom got me a Barbie.
It's okay, Lofty. Culture Casino also has Barbies, so you could tease him about that one.
We all still have like action figures and stuff. So
I had a Barbie.
I have a Barbie.
I had lifeguard
Barbie.
Yeah. See?
Well, there you go. That's Scarlet Barbie. I had lifeguard Barbie because I had a bunch of GI Joes and I just wanted to get a Barbie to play with them. I was being dead serious.
That's what I did with my brother growing up. He had a lot of GI Joes. I had a lot of Barbies because I was not allowed to have Ken, so I stole some of his GI Joe.
Well, there you go. And my GI Joes were awesome. You know what I used to do? It was hilarious. I used to take them and simulate parachute, like airborne infantry units that like jumped into combat behind enemy lines. But I would throw them up in the air, and then I would throw them into a tree, and I would watch them like come down and like hit the branches, and I would like pretend that it was like real. And the one guy's leg fell off, and I kept it that way, and I gave him a crutch I made out of straws. Yeah.
I will say this.
Power Rangers. That's what I play with Barbies. The little Power Ranger toys that flip the heads inside.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to ask, does this count as a Barbie?
Oh my God.
Who is that? Is it
that?
Bausch?
This is a Ryan Kinnell.
It's Ryan.
Oh my
Yeah. You guys know who Andy Masterson is? He does a
Yes,
lot of,
I
like,
do.
Yes,
making-
yeah, he
So
makes
he
some
made this
really cool
Ryan
stuff.
for me.
Yeah,
That's
that's
So
Oh
does
my
this
God.
count? So
Yeah,
is
we
Ryan
gotta
a
match
little
it.
Barbie?
I would like one back here.
I would. He
I had
needs
him in the back. I had to go get him.
He needs the I am Knuff sweatshirt, and that would be complete.
Yes,
Yeah.
you need to get him a little.
Wait,
Yep.
hold it up.
sweater.
Hold it up. Is he smiling? Because Ryan doesn't smile.
Of
Yeah,
course not.
he scowl-
Oh,
he
wait,
scowls.
of course
Smile.
not.
Okay, good.
It's Ryan.
No.
He's angry.
He scowls. That's what he
He's mad
does.
about
You-
Batman.
Dang, that's a good description.
Maybe
Yeah.
just put some
That's some good
sunglasses on him. He's
detail.
good.
Catwoman sucks.
Well,
Oh my gosh. That's
does
so
anybody
funny.
have any last thoughts on Barbie before we move on to a couple of the other topics?
Oscar nomination for Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling?
Yes,
I will
am
say
all for this.
Yeah.
I will ask Lofty, do you think this movie would have made as much money as it did, or have seen as much if the controversy around it of like it's a man hating, it's patriarch, all this stuff? Do you think it would be at it where it is like $1 billion?
I don't know. I think it would have hit $1 billion. What did it actually hit? Like 1.3 billion or something? Or...
I think so. I called it, I want to say, and you can go back and watch a Salty Nerd podcast where I called it. I said this movie is going to make a ton of money because it's an event movie. And by event movie, I mean it's a girls' night out movie. It's, mom and daughters wanting going out, taking granddaughter. Like, it's an event for women to go get dressed up, go to Barbie themed parties, and go see this movie.
That's true. That would not have mattered if it was controversial or not. But there is a lot of people that went. I know. Well, I don't know. This is anecdotal, but I know people that went to see it because of the controversy and who weren't interested. This is interesting. I always try to point this out because do you familiar with Letterboxd? It's like
Yes.
it's like IMDb. This movie is very popular on that website. It has 500,000 5-star reviews. It has over like 1.5 million reviews on the site. There's a lot of people that think this movie is like really, really, really good, and in terms of like just like a cinematic experience, there's a lot of people that think this movie, that there's so many fans of this movie. I don't think all of them are on social media like doing the whole controversy thing. I think a lot of these people genuinely just loved the movie, and there's also like a whole cinephile community that they're that like the movie, like I was trying to say earlier, but like there's so many references. 2001 Space Odyssey had a big beginning, and the ending too, by the way, was very much similar to how the 2001 guy at the end basically like dies and then is reborn again as like a fetus. The whole movie is very similar to that, but and then like there's the references to the Truman Show, the Matrix. Like there's this whole cinephile community that like is obsessed with this movie, and it has it has like everything everywhere all at once vibes, in my opinion, which is why I think it might have a big Oscar buzz coming around. So there's that kind of group of people. Then there's just the moms that went to see it. The kids didn't like it, from what I understand, but that's not really for them.
Yeah, it wasn't made for them.
So,
what do you think about her doing? Because she's teed up to do the Chronicles of Narnia for, I believe, Netflix.
Well, she has a Catholic upbringing, so I know she might understand that. I just don't. I don't really trust the productions studios anymore to like cast things properly. I mean, casting is never really. You can't really pin that on the directors. Usually, it comes down to like
from the studio. Yeah.
The studio, do they want to be woke or not? And then, so I don't know. Greta could do a good job with it, but it could still be like forceful political stuff that shouldn't be in there. But I don't know.
I think if it was any other studio than Netflix, I would be 100% on board for it.
Yeah.
Because I do like her work, but it makes me nervous that it's Netflix, because Netflix can be hit or miss with IP. I mean, look how they butchered The Witcher. But also other studios too. I mean, there's some really good shows on Amazon Prime, but then there's Rings of Power and Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Oh, Wheel of Time and Rings of
and that's
Power.
Viking show.
Yeah, but and here I am worried that because I'm a Flanagan gal, I love all things Flanagan. He's supposed to be Dark Towers for Amazon.
Yes. And
Which-
The Fall of the House of Usher, which comes out next week.
Yeah,
or
I'll
2
be
weeks.
binging that next week
Yeah.
for sure. That I love all his stuff, except for Midnight Society. It was a little hit or miss for me,
Yeah.
but here's me going on a tangent. Okay, so
No, you know,
I wish
Can
I wish that I had gotten that meme ready, but there's like this meme that was going around during the movie that Ken left Barbie Land and he turned into Driver from Drive, and then after that he turned into Agent K from 2049.
Right. He's not a human. So he becomes a human and then he goes back to being a replicant. Not human.
I have never seen Blade Runner, so neither of them.
What?
It's a good movie. They just
I worry
fumbled
it's
the
not gonna hold
ending.
up.
I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the ending at all.
You were just talking about Netflix. I want to just say this because I think you should be happy that it's on Netflix. I'm sorry. It's the best streaming service. They have the best shows. They have bad shows, but they have the quantity.
Are you talking about Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah, I think people are too afraid to admit, and I was for a while, but I'm kind of tired of it, to be honest, because the reality is Netflix has amazing shows. I could list 20 of them right now. I mean, you listed a bunch of Flanagan shows, but Ozark is really good. Peaky Blinders is really good.
Yeah.
The animes are really good. The Squid Game is really good. There's so many of them. Dark, 1899. But Netflix to me is
Dark
better
is
than
fantastic.
Yes.
Dark is.
I think what Lofty is trying to say is that people highlight a lot of the bad stuff because it's easy to dunk on.
It is.
But I mean, I will say this. It is something to be said, though, that we do have a voice in this because the same people who did Cowboy Bebop, which was a horrendous situation, were also the same people that did the live action One Piece, and they learned their lesson. So
fair enough.
We do have a voice with this, y'all.
I think I'm just so butthurt by The Witcher. So butthurt by
I think we're just so butthurt over all the fantasies like Lord of the Rings stuff with Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, Witcher. We're kind of we're very, and with good reason. There's nothing wrong with how we are feeling, but we are a little hypersensitive to it, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So, and for me, Narnia is literally my gateway into Lord of the Rings. Like I grew up with Narnia. I have the books on my shelf. Their spines are like literally destroyed. So it's kind of one of those things for me. Like that is, whereas other people have Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all this other stuff. Like Narnia is my IP basically. So I'm going to be hypersensitive over it, unfortunately.
Well, isn't it sad that maybe you don't feel this way, but I think it's sad that some people are afraid to be optimistic and excited about things anymore.
Well, because they have conditioned us this way in a way.
I know,
in a way,
but I think it's still possible because I was very excited about Dune and my expectations were exceeded.
Exactly.
And I was actually excited about Mario, and that turned out really well. I wish more people could. Now I think it's okay to be excited about something and then it disappoints you. To me, that's normal. But I just don't. I wish people could be more embrace their inner child and just be more excited and I just wish we could be fans of things before they come out because that's fun.
I think we're just so jaded because
it's hard.
The community we're in because it's no longer approaching it as I'm excited to watch this.
Right.
It's more like, oh, okay, now I have to review this. I have to watch it. I have to have an opinion about it. I'm not really excited for it. Look at all the previous stuff the studio has done. Do you think we're just jaded about it?
Yeah, it's because look at all the stuff that happened. I was super excited for The Mandalorian season 3, and look what they did with it. Right. I was happy. I was one of the only people on Twitter that was like, yay, it's almost here. Countdown to The Mandalorian. And what are all of the theories that are going to happen? And then look what happened. So now I'm mad. Now that Ahsoka happened, now I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like we're doing... Yeah. It's like we're doing different research to figure out if something's good, right? Where we used to be like, okay, I read the books. I really like that. I want to see how they adapt it. I'm going to watch the trailer. That looks good. That looks bad. Let's see what happens. Instead of doing that, now we are being jaded because we're not doing that kind of research. We're more like, okay, well, here's the director, here's what they've done in the past, here's the producers, here's what they've done in the past, here's the streaming service. Do we think they're going to do a good job with it? So we're looking at the very different things. We're looking at the brand before going into a show instead of looking at the show or the source material before going into it.
Yeah,
and
it's exhausting.
because we're trying to figure out, is it going to be good or not? Am I going to enjoy it? Are they going to adapt the material very well or not? And I think because we're approaching it from a very different view, that's making people either extremely excited or extremely jaded. So it's
like
making this very extremes on either side.
Yeah, like as the other day, he asked Gary and Mahler, like, write down what you think Star Wars is, and they both came out with different answers. So no one knows what Star Wars is anymore.
Well, art is subjective.
Yeah,
I say all this at the time. You can like something somebody hates, and vice versa. It's gonna be subjective to you. I don't believe in following the crowd, and I don't believe in just same thing like with bringing it back to Barbie. Everybody had an opinion about Barbie before I went to go see Barbie, and I avoided it like the plague because I wanted it to go in with nobody in my head telling me this is woke garbage, nothing. I wanted to go in subjectively for myself to see what I liked, and I liked it. And I was one of the rare people in our community that really liked it. Not a lot of people did. But I think there's also an issue of follow the leader with a lot of people following what bigger type of content creators say instead of actually being subjective for yourself and seeing if you like it. And then I also think there's a fear that if you go against the grain, saying like, oh, I liked Barbie, then everybody's going to just be using you as a punching bag and just go, why? And not trusting your opinion, where I think all opinions should be treated the same. Yeah. But all opinions are like assholes too. So everybody has one.
I just like
that's a joke, guys.
No, I think you're right.
Everybody clap for the joke.
I think you're right too. I think there's multiple factors. It's it's who you're how does my mom always say, you are who you hang out with. And that necessarily means that you're not your own person, but sometimes you do absorb other people and their thought processes too. And it's just it's natural, it happens. But also, we're all a little gun shy because of we've seen how actors and actresses say things before a show comes out. They already lambast the fans already. They already call us isphobes, whatever you want to call it. And so therefore that's where it leads into what Rachel was saying, was now we're going deep diving into the directors, the producers, the actual companies that are distributing this stuff out and what the records are, because we're trying to dig into the deeper meaning of where they're going with all of this, because we're all very gun shy and we all understand. I mean, there are some gems out there. There are diamonds in the rough, but then we also have been slapped in the face by like Star Wars and Rings of Power
and Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of like I always call it a whiplash, because it feels like you're being literally hurt by one thing, but then you have a live action One Piece over here. And so it's kind of it's set like Dr. Rachel said. There's so many extremes going on. We can't even have something in the middle where we're just enjoying the moment. So
I just try to keep a little bit of distance from the passion that some people get. So there's this, Eric July has this sort of analogy where you're if you're paying attention to Hollywood and you're still optimistic about it, like his point is that you're putting your hand on a stove and it's burning you and you're just like leaving it there. And it's like you're expecting it to not get like cold, but it's sort of like the definition of insanity is like his argument, right? And to me, it's like that makes sense only if you are not paying attention to the totality of what is coming out of Hollywood, because there are a lot of really, 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 really good things recently. And if you are just a pop culture person, if your only thing that you care about is Ghostbusters, like the 10 most popular franchises, then you're going to probably have a much worse experience than people who are into other things like One Piece or like anime adaptations or horror movies are doing really well right now.
Horror movies are doing a bang up job.
Yeah, horror movies are doing great. And
finally.
like Oppenheimer was fantastic. I thought John Wick 4 was really good. There's just some, and there's what was the other one? I can't remember. I like Beau is Afraid, even though that's kind of controversial, but
But a lot of people aren't going to see those movies. That's the problem too.
Yeah, but it's like, but you're not. Nobody should be telling you that you're like stupid or dumb for being optimistic. Like that's
true.
not like not everybody is like obsessed with like pop culture. Like some people like different things. Like pop culture is terrible. I will say pop culture right now is horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's very.
You're right. It find outlets elsewhere. Like for me, horror has always had different agendas throughout the years because it's subjective to who creates it, right?
Yeah.
It can represent, there's times it represents like what's going on in the current media, wars and stuff. There's always, horror is always a great genre because it can represent pretty much anything going on. But it always does well because it's always looking to first tell the story versus put the whole agenda. And I don't think people expect horror like they do, have expectations of horror like they do of pop culture. You're right, because everybody, all the main franchises like Star Wars, Marvel, and stuff, they're not doing great, right? So then why not look for other outlets to enjoy?
Yeah, and I like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse a lot actually, but
I've only seen the first one. I know I liked the first one,
but that's rare. Yeah, though the second one's really good too.
Okay,
but it is rare, and like I said, I'm a big movie guy, so I'm excited for stuff like Napoleon. You know, it comes out in November. That looks really good.
That looks
that looks cool.
The new
that
David.
does.
Like there's a new David Fincher movie. If you're a fan of like Fight Club or Seven, his new movie with Michael Fassbender looks really good. That's on Netflix.
Isn't it Mr. Killer? I think, or something.
The Killer.
Extent?
The Killer.
Yeah. Yep.
That looks really good.
Lofty, you and I are on the same wavelength, man. I think we like the same stuff.
Those are just good movies, though, aren't they? Just like really good Hollywood movies. And then Killers of the Flower Moon with DiCaprio, that comes out.
Absolutely, yeah.
That looks really good. So there's a lot of things to be excited for, and I just wish more people were not so cynical. But
because I think also the main franchises also lead into clickbaits because it's Star Wars this issue, this Marvel issue, it's used very popular for clickbaits, and it's a popular topic, and it's also because normies understand these IPs too. Like
that's
these are common things that people know. People know Marvel, Star Wars, DC, all that stuff. But,
well, I'm a normie too. I feel the same. I'm criticizing myself too because I did the same thing with Jurassic Park. That's my favorite movie ever, and I was so upset when they kind of just ruined the spirit of that original movie with the new trilogy. They made it more of like a Mission Impossible kind of weird vibe, like adventure story. It didn't make any sense to me, and I got upset. And I understand that attachment to like a childhood sort of nostalgia. I totally get it. I'm just trying to embrace more like good movies coming out,
Yeah.
And horror is always the way to go, ladies.
And make sure you're saying it as horror, not horror.
Yeah.
And I'm a horror.
Horror.
And there's
Usher. I'm excited for that.
There's a movie on Hulu that just came out about the aliens that's called No One Will Save You.
Amazing movie.
That one should have come out in theaters. It was so good. I didn't expect that ending, and when the ending happened, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
it was so good.
Wait, who said no? Not even.
I have a fear of aliens. I have a legit fear. Of
so
aliens.
do I. But you know what? I saw it during the day because I was like, "No, I need to see this movie. It looks like it's really good."
Oh, wait,
and
Nadia,
it's so good.
Mars Attacks bothers me. Nope.
What?
Yeah.
What?
No.
Yeah, no, I legit have a fear of aliens. Like it's not.
I'm gonna go buy that mask and show up like the Martian.
Oh God!
Do it.
Wait. I thought you said you like horror.
So there you go. That makes sense.
I do like horror. One of my favorite horror movies is The Thing. Yes, I understand it's a contradiction. I don't like gray aliens or aliens to that form. Thank you, Bader. I see you in the chat.
Wait, why though? Why do you like horror though? because it scares you? Because you like being scared, right? I think that's why most people like horror.
I grew up, so my
I'm just curious.
mom really loved horror. My dad really liked horror because my dad's an immigrant from the Middle East, so horror movies translated very well over there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I grew up watching Child's Play, Poltergeist, all these movies, probably way too young. I started reading Stephen King probably way too young.
Same.
And I worked in the industry. I was a special effects makeup artist for 10 years. And I built haunted houses and stuff. So like, I love horror, but I am probably a pretty big scary cat. But something about Aliens itself, maybe because
I agree with you. Aliens are scary.
It's too maybe Uncanny Valley for me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, Dead Space is the scariest game I've ever played in my life. It's Aliens.
Because there's that one movie that came out, The Fourth Kind or something like that.
Yeah.
I've never been able to watch that movie. Just
My
from the
sisters
trailer
made me
alone,
watch that without telling
I'm like
me what it was.
terrified.
Yeah.
That one looks so scary.
If you hate Aliens, no one what's it called? No One Will Save
No
You
One Will
is
Save You?
the last movie you should ever watch because they're the scariest aliens I've ever seen in anything. Period. Alien from the Xenomorph is really scary. It's up there, but
see, I see Nadia's point though, because when you see like the Xenomorph, at least I know that it's aggressive and it's trying to kill me. But
Right.
like these aliens are so quiet with their big
They're
eyes,
weird.
and you're like, what do they want?
yeah.
But the Salty Nerd podcast has a video of me doing a live reaction to that trailer. I don't know if I think it's probably members only, but they did a live reaction for it. If Vader's
Wow.
still in chat, he'll tell me if it's members only. But yeah, maybe because I think I saw counters on the third kind. Yeah, I think I saw that way too young as a kid. And just
what about Signs with Mel Gibson?
Oh, I love Signs.
So
That's
I
a
went
creepy
to see
movie.
that movie without knowing what it was with a group of friends, and I'm not kidding you, I was crying in this movie because of how scared I was.
Oh man!
So
you have
like,
a legit
I
fear, like
legit have a fear
arachnophobia.
of it. Yeah, I don't like spiders either. I have arachnophobia,
Right.
but aliens to me, it's just. And after watching just the trailer for that movie, I had nightmares the next
boy.
day. So like, yeah,
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it then.
Yeah,
too much.
I'll watch
It's
the
way too
highlight reel or something
Oh
like
my
somebody will.
God.
I'll just watch somebody's review. That's one movie I'll trust somebody's
Movie-
opinion on.
Because I don't want to spoil it, because when you get to the ending of this movie, it kind of like your feelings change. But I don't want to like
It's
give away
uplift. It's a good ending.
It's
I
a
was
really-
talking to the director on Twitter back and forth the other day,
Oh my
and
God.
he's very friendly with fans. Yeah, I was having a chat with him about the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Those special effects and everything. Oh my God. Yeah, it was really scary. The first half of the movie, I was terrified out of my
Yep.
Alien and extreme body gore are the only two genres I really have a problem with horror movies. Like
Yeah.
I can do Evil Dead, but I can't. But like Human Centipede to me is just taking it too
Ugh.
far.
Mhm.
I can do certain, like I can do very violent movies, but when it's like pustule or something to that form in body,
Right.
or it's just not my cup of tea.
Like The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Have you seen-
Yeah, I like that movie. But
disgusting.
it's a one-time watch for me,
It's
and that's
gross.
about it.
E.T. is so cute.
Nope, I can't even handle ET. I'm sorry.
He's adorable.
I can't.
He's a little buddy.
Nadia, you have
know.
Grogu in your room right now.
I know I
He's
got
an
Grogu, but
alien.
Grogu looks like my dog, so like I'm okay with it. So we have about a half hour left. We've talked about Barbie, and I'm cool with continuing a conversation about just movies. Or do you guys want to get into any of the other topics? I know, Max, did you want to talk about Disney for a minute?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Let's
could do
go
that.
over the
Disney and just the state of Hollywood, I guess, in terms
Sure.
of
Yeah, with the strikes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we have supposedly the writer strike is over. Yay!
Supposedly, we don't. Yeah.
I know
Who knows?
nothing's signed, but I also read today. I think the actor strike might be resolved this Monday, as well.
Yeah. I have I'll let you guys go ahead before I go on a little teensy weensy rant about this stupid strike. And I just, oh boy.
But we're here for it, Lofty. I kind of want to
Yeah.
hear it.
I know
So-
that's what
Yeah.
you're here for.
I'll tell you, Lofty.
Go for it. Rant away.
I'm
the
in the
stupid-
opinion that I don't want anybody to be homeless. I don't want anybody to
I
lose their
agree.
homes.
I agree.
But I also don't like the fact that for the last couple of years, the 1% of both writers and actors have attacked fans. Not
Yes.
the majority, because the majority I think make about 20,000 a year. They have to work part-time jobs and stuff like that. So I'm in agreement that everybody should have a livelihood, but I also understand why they did not have a lot of support from the public because of the 1% that
yeah.
like to open their mouths. But
Well,
go ahead.
It's
mean,
a combination.
We also
Yeah.
have like somebody in our own spheres and community, script doctor, who writes scripts, and you know, he's one of us where he wants to write good quality content, but then it's like the 1% are the loud ones. So there's that issue. Anyway, go ahead.
It's true. I mean, the 1% are loud and annoying. There are a lot of, to be fair though, there are a lot of bad writers that we don't know who they are, but they work their way into the industry with their pronouns in their bio, and they're automatically hired because of whatever skin color. You could just pick an attribute, and then they can't get fired unless they're white. But the problem is the Hollywood does this where they want the reason why what I was going to talk about is the oh crap, now I can't remember. It was the writers' rooms. So these writers' rooms, what they won this negotiation, and apparently what happens now is that they're going to have minimum quotas, which means, you know, if you have a show, you have to have a minimum of like 6 or 8 writers per season, and then more if it goes longer than 8 episodes. And it's like, now that we have these minimum quotas that are like written into the contracts, I think that's a bad thing because, like I was saying, there's a lot of people that are hired not based on merit, but based on other reasons, and they're just shoved into these writers' rooms. They don't know anything about the source material. They're not fans of the original thing, and they're included, and they have to participate in the script writing process, and they end up, you know, I've seen this enough times where they just end up ruining the context of the show, and they make it. It's like, the reason why the best shows work really well is because these people are hardcore fans of that thing, you know? And it's once you have these minimum quotas, which I was never for in the first place. That's why I was against, you know, part of the writer's strike, because they were pushing for like job security based on nothing but quotas, like not merit. If they write a bad script, you shouldn't be given a minimum quota job in another.
You shouldn't be rewarded for it.
You should, if you're doing a bad job and your show's getting canceled and you're losing Disney Plus money in subscribers, like, which is objectively happening. People are, these writers are like picketing. They're like, hey, we make you money. Our shows are what drive people to your platform. And I'm thinking, actually, your shows are driving away people from the platform.
Yeah. Like, where?
Yeah. Now you have to separate. The problem is you have to separate that from people like the writers of Succession or Midnight Mass and some of these other really good shows. There's these leeches that like parasites that like leech onto the more talented writers, and they like pretend that they're all like valuable in the industry when a lot of them are not at all valuable. And it's like, there's just this big. It's hard to support them 100%. It just really is. I
agree with you. Yeah.
I don't even. Go ahead.
I mean,
sorry.
A prime example is the She-Hulk writing room.
Oh gosh, yes.
It was technically supposed to be a law, like they were supposed to have courtroom experience of writing courtroom, and none of them did. So they scratched that idea.
It's embarrassing.
So why hire somebody who has, and it's more like who you know, right? It's who you know.
More like nepotism too. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of these people have their own agenda going in, and my thing is, create your own stuff. Why go in and destroy a legacy IP that could make you money? My thought process is like, if I go in and write for, I don't know, Star Wars, I'm going to give the fans what they want. Then I'm going to be praised for it. I'm going to make Disney Plus money, and then I'll approach Disney Plus and say, "Hey, I have this idea for this sci-fi series I want to do on my own. You know, I want to create this story completely outside of this IP. can I do it? And the fact that you have merit for bringing them in money and having a successful show,
Yeah.
instead go in and destroy the IP that you're assigned to because you have an agenda to write for it. My husband always points out the fact that Rings of Power could have probably done well if they didn't have the Lord of the Rings stamped on it. If they just decided, hey, we just wanted to create a fantasy series set like this, we're going to write it this way. Yeah. But instead they decided to take a legacy IP, especially a big one like Lord of the Rings. Like there are I'm a Harry Potter fan, but I do not have the passions like a Lord of the Rings fan does.
And no, we know destroy so it.
Yeah, like you guys, I mean, that you guys are like top tier passionate fans. And for them to go in there and destroy it like that instead of creating something that would bring the studio money, it boggles my mind.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying about fans. Like if you want to do a I'm trying to pick a good example of something like I don't know. I'm trying to pick like a nerdy example. Chronicles of Narnia. So that the writer's room should consist of only like super mega hardcore fans of Chronicles of Narnia. You should not be getting writers that like wrote some other terrible fantasy show on, Wheel of Time, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I kind of read the books when I was a kid. I don't remember them much, but I have this shitty show that I made on Amazon. You should not be doing those. People shouldn't be getting anywhere near or Rings of Power.
And not only that, but it's got to be people who are serious about these type of IPs where they are going into the story and they do value their own quality that they bring to the story, but they also value the story itself. I mean, look at, for instance, Viggo Mortensen. He didn't read Lord of the Rings until he was reading it for his role, and look what he did for Aragorn. And it's kind of, he loves the Lord of the Rings even to this very day and has spoken out against Rings of Power. So it's kind of like you need to have people who are passionate about what they do, but also want to go in because they want to respect what they're doing. And some of these people do not respect what they're doing. They're just doing it because it's like failing upwards or whatever. It's like they just kind of, they think they can just do whatever what they want. And it's just, they don't have to be, because even some fans can also mess up a little bit. But it's kind of like one of those things where you have to marry the true passion of the art of what they're doing, as well as understanding the subject that they're getting themselves into, while also presenting something that is respectful to what they are doing. And unfortunately, they don't respect what they're doing because they think it's handed to them all the time.
Yeah. That's why I think Flanagan does such a good job with his work with King's adaptions, because he truly is passionate about it, but he has his own ideas and he's respectful of the IP. I mean, Dr. Sleep was great. Its adaptation, I agree. Was fantastic.
That was an awesome movie.
The fact that it's in his hand, even though it's Amazon Studios, but it's in his hands for Dark Towers, I'm totally on board.
I agree.
Excited for.
The other one was terrible. It was nothing like the Dark Tower.
No, it wasn't. And I've even seen a little bit of what Amazon did prior to handing it over to him. I believe they at least filmed the first episode or a scene of it, and it looked all right. But again, I think because Flanagan does so well with characters and really making you care about characters and giving characters stories without drawing them out too long, I think him doing the Dark Towers is great. So finding somebody like that who can lead the charge in a writer's room, and then adding people of different backgrounds and stuff, I'm okay with, because at the end of the day, you have somebody that everything has to kind of go through who's at least passionate about the project itself.
Yeah. And the residual.
That's kind of where you're... I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, you're good.
I was going to say, but that's also where you have to kind of start editing people, because Dave Filoni is supposedly like the savior of Star Wars, and he's this mega fan, and everyone says that Star Wars is in great hands with him, and look at what he's done with Ahsoka. Like, he's just elevating what he's created and kind of pushing aside everything that George has established, to the point that now all of the Star Wars fans are like, this isn't Star Wars anymore. All of a sudden, anyone can be a Jedi. No one dies with lightsabers. Like, what is this anymore? And supposedly he's supposed to be a mega fan. So I don't know.
He is a liar.
Well,
He's
yeah,
a
nothing's
liar.
ever gonna some mega fans ruin things. That's true. And you know, it gets to their heads. I mean, Neil Druckmann ruined his own video game, The Last of Us 2.
That's true.
That's
Um,
true.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
true.
But he did a great job adapting the season 1 of his show. So I think he was heavily involved, in the guy who did Chernobyl on a really good show.
Ooh, Chernobyl was very well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I love Chernobyl.
I like history pieces, so that was really well done. But it's same thing too. Like Lily, you liked Mandalorian season 1, right? So I mean, most
Season
people
1 and
did.
2 were amazing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
most people were like, "Hey, it's Star Wars is." Well, I don't hate me. I'm not a big Star Wars. I mean, I have Princess Leia's blaster tattooed on me, but I like the originals, and that's about where my knowledge stops. Like, okay, so the shows, but Mandalorian is great because somebody like me who doesn't have experience with Star Wars could just dive right in and enjoy it. Where Ahsoka, you have to do homework for.
Yes.
And I wasn't willing to do the homework for it.
Mhm.
I should be able to hop right in and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And then if there is background story that I've never seen, then lay those in as Easter eggs for people who have seen it. Don't expect me to go back and watch 2 full animations, and then
And
you had to
that's the
watch-
problem. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
an episode of Mandalorian or a book of Boba Fett and stuff.
Right. And that's kind of like what the original movies were like. You can just hop right in without all of this
Mhm.
other
Oh,
explanation
yeah.
going on. So it's just you can hop right in and really get yourself into the world without having people to say,
That's
hey, you
what-
need to watch this show or read these books or read these comics or whatever to really get into the aspect of the movies. So it's kind of, well, first of all, they started off as movies, so that's why. But it's
Yeah.
kind of like that's the problem now with Disney, even like the Marvel shows. It's almost like you have to do
Yeah.
all this research now and this homework of
Mhm.
who's showing up where and who, and
It's
now
bad.
you have the
Yeah.
not to go into the Miss Marvel the Marvels movie.
Oh, well, you're right. That's what I was gonna say. You have to also do it for the movies too now.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna lose your audience that way, because let me tell you, nobody has that all the time in the day.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that because
Yeah.
normies don't have time. I mean, we all don't have that kind of
I know.
time. So
Mhm.
I heard George Lucas directly say this. He literally said in an interview that the reason why the first movie works really well is because he saw a movie called, I don't know which Kurosawa movie it was, but it was maybe Yojimbo or something. And he didn't know what was happening. He didn't know what these people were. Like, what the heck? He didn't know what a samurai was at the time. He didn't know what the shogunate was. But for some reason, the movie just made complete sense to him in the hierarchy, like the village people and the lone wanderer that shows up to help them, and the structure of everything made complete sense. Even though all of these things are so exotic and weird, that's how Star Wars was. Star Wars is weird. It doesn't make any sense if you try to analyze, like, what the heck is a wampa, or what is a Tusken
Wookiee?
Raider?
A Wookiee.
Or like-
Wookiee.
Yeah, like what's a Tusken Raider? Like, what are these things? What's the Sarlacc like pit? What is a Jedi and a Sith? But you're shoved into the world, and it just something about it is so exotic and fascinating that you just you absorb all of it, and it's we lost that because now it's all about linear timeline relevancy and who met who in the past, and are they going to meet again, and it like, what is going on?
Yeah, I would love to see it where they would just. I understand they want to make money, so money is IP legacy characters. But to me, what Disney should have done was wrap up the legacy characters with the 3 movies, which they did. I think they did a poor job at. But wrap up the legacy characters and then use Disney Star Wars TV stuff to expand the universe with all new characters, all different storylines.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of them wrap back, but they didn't really need.
Well,
do you really need an Ahsoka show?
That's
after
what
the
they were doing with The
animations?
Mandalorian. That's what
Yeah,
they were doing
but
with The
then they
Mandalorian until
Then they
season
Luke
2,
Skywalker.
Yeah.
until season 2, where Filoni started bringing in all of his characters. He brought in Bo-Katan. He brought in Ahsoka. He brought in all of that, and all of a sudden, the Mandalorian turned into the launching point for all these other TV shows. And
That's
it's
a
like
great
they self sabotage their entire that was their like cash cow, Grogu and Mando. That's why in season 3, everyone was mad because we're like, why is this the Bo-Katan show all of a sudden? And then all of the producers and whatever were like, oh no, guys, we never told you who the Mandalorian was. It could be any of these Mandalorians. And I'm like, really? Because I don't think so. And they basically like sabotage their own show because now Dave Filoni wants to release this big movie. And I'm thinking, yeah, but who's going to be the Mandalorian? It's going to be Bo-Katan. So you think like this entire female-led movie is going to do great without Mando, without Grogu and that relationship that everybody was looking forward to? I don't think so. Bo-Katan doesn't have the same draw that Mando did. So I don't know.
I agree with you. I think season 1 of Mandalorian can stand alone on itself. You can watch it. You don't have to. To me, it didn't need a second season. It would have been better off just being a one-off, and they just continued to do stories like that, taking different type of characters and giving them each kind of like an anthology where they gave them each a different season. You know, give me a point of view from a Wookiee. Give me a point of view from I don't know what's the one with the long tentacle head.
Twi'lek.
Yeah, give me but one that we don't even know. Like just give me a story somewhere off, and they're affected by the change in authority and stuff.
There's really good storylines in games like the Old Republic, and that like they don't feel the same. It's a different feeling. It's like its own little isolated event storyline, and
that's why they worked.
That's why they worked, and they have like you could play the bounty hunter class in that game, and you have a really 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 fun unique storyline that could have worked as its own little series or something. And you don't have to bring in a CG deepfake Luke Skywalker or like you don't have to do flashback Ewan McGregor. Like that's cool, but everybody wants like KOTOR or like just do something new and fresh and oh my god.
I mean, you could totally. There's so much material with KOTOR stuff.
Yeah.
With the Old Republic stuff.
That's the Old Republic.
They could easily have several seasons of something and just or at least or a movie series. But yeah, you're right, Lily. They could, but they refuse to do it.
Well, look at what Kathleen Kennedy said when they bought Star Wars. She said, "Oh, we don't have any material to go off of."
I know, no source material.
Like really?
Oh man,
really?
Just ironically, I would love a shirt that says "The Force is female." Just ironically, I would love.
She did wear them. She wore them at some event.
You can wear it where it says "Force is female" on the front, and in the back it says "Just kidding."
No, I would do "Force is female" in the front, and then the back says "Make Marvel male again." It would totally throw people off. Totally like
make everyone mad.
Instead of
it's crazy. And then we get like really bad stories because this storyline that's taking place in Ahsoka is supposed to be one of the EU stories, and that's Heir to the Empire, which I recently read, so it's all fresh in my mind. So I'm seeing it in Ahsoka being done worse than the books. So I'm over here thinking, why are you taking things that are already established and trying to pass them off as if these are Dave Filoni's ideas? Because they're not.
Yeah.
This was another author's entire trilogy that was amazing. I really loved it. It was so good. It had different characters with your legacy characters, and they explained like Thrawn. Thrawn was actually like menacing and scary, and you could see like all the things that he was thinking about. In the show, I'm like, what? Like they made him look so dumb with a lot of the choices that he's making. I'm like, why are you taking something that was amazing, trying to pass it off as your own, and then we get like the super watered down really bad version of it?
I checked out after episode 2. I think episode 2 or 3.
we still have one more episode left, unfortunately.
Oh no,
unfortunately.
Good luck.
I stopped watching. Yeah.
On that note, yesterday Disney stock plummeted below $80.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I stopped watching Ahsoka after I watched a droid fall from a ceiling for some reason that was hiding overnight for no reason at all, and then it falls down and she takes its head off and they get the coordinates from it. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was super dumb.
Can one person here explain to me why it was hiding in the ceiling all night?
No, I don't know.
Other than that's a plot device so that they can get the coordinates. Like, there's no reason for that droid. They should have taken the droid, but then they would have gotten away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
that
refuse to
entire
give-
show
I
is
refuse
just
to give-
that's dumb.
I refuse
just
to. I want Disney Plus. Like I told my husband because we have it through our phone. I was like, I would like this off, please. I do
There's
not want to give
nothing of
Disney more
value
money.
on Disney Plus at all. It's all
Well, okay.
They're gonna mess up
I'm-
R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. They're gonna
or how about Percy Jackson and all that kind of stuff now?
Yeah.
Like
I actually okay. To be fair, and I'm gonna think of it how Lofty said in the beginning. I'm actually kind of pretty excited for Percy Jackson because I like the original movies that came out. I never read the books, but I like mythology, so I'm willing to give it a chance. But yeah, I hear a lot of fans are pretty much
Well,
like, eh.
that's I would say wait for a trailer on that one because Percy Jackson was butchered. I mean, wasn't it like the first time they did try to do it? Or do you like those movies?
I never read the
Oh.
books.
I was
So I liked the
super
first
normie
movie.
to it, so yeah, I liked it too. I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Oh, I
Because I've
heard,
never
I
read
heard
the
differently.
books.
I never watched it, but yeah, like that could now. Oh, I was gonna say Loki season 2 because actually I think that show has a potential because I like Hiddleston and Owen Wilson's chemistry a lot. And Loki season 2 is directed by Benson and Moorhead, who they're these really, really, really good directors. They came out of the horror genre, and now they're doing they did the best episode of Moon Knight, which is the one that was all in his head at the end in the hospital. I just think it has potential.
That one was good.
I did like Moon Knight. I would say I liked it more than most of what Disney has put out. I did like Loki season 1. It was entertaining, and I love WandaVision. I thought WandaVision was great, but the rest of them like I'll go back and rewatch WandaVision sometimes, and I'll go back and maybe pop on an episode of Loki. But the other ones, I couldn't tell you what happened at any of the other Disney Marvel movies shows.
Yeah. Have you seen the Twilight Zone show?
The Jordan Peele one.
Yeah, there's one episode with an octopus. It's a really good episode, actually.
That one's good. I didn't catch the other ones. I was like,
that's the one. Those are the directors that are doing Loki season 2, and I think the trailer shows a lot of Loki and Owen Wilson. And as long as they keep them together the whole movie, I like bromance storylines, so maybe it'll be good. I don't know, but
that's what they're supposedly with Aquaman, because Aquaman 2 is supposed to be a bromance as well between Patrick Wilson and Aquaman. I keep forgetting what.
And
Patrick
I thought
Wilson's
The Punisher was great, and that had a really good bromance. The Punisher on Netflix.
Yeah,
remember with the hacker guy, him and the hacker? They were like, yeah.
I like all of the Netflix
Right.
Marvel shows. Jessica Jones, the first season with David Tennant as the villain, probably
Great.
one. I mean, Daredevil alone. The first season of Daredevil, one
Yeah.
of the best written Marvel TV shows. I even liked Iron Fist. I know a lot of people give it grief, but I thought it was okay.
It's corny, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Luke Cage season 1. Okay, Luke Cage. First half of Luke Cage season 1, fantastic.
Yeah,
Second half of Luke Cage season 1, I could deal with that. Like, once they killed off one of the main villains in the mid season, that should have been the ending right there.
But it's true. You shouldn't be subscribed to Disney Plus all year long. Like, it's a waste of everybody's money. There's nothing on it. Like Loki. I'm gonna subscribe to it for like 3 months or whatever, a month or 2, and then I'm done again because I don't watch it ever.
I do the same thing with Max because HBO. There's shows that come out, and I'm like The Righteous Gemstones. I had it on for a while because I liked that show, and then now there's not really much on there. So,
it's different than Netflix and Amazon and even Hulu sometimes, because there's a rotating catalog of movies and shows that, and then sometimes you might be bored and you're like, I'm gonna go on Netflix and try to find something, or Amazon. It's not that way with Disney because number one, you already know what's on there, and you've probably already seen everything that's on there, or you don't want to watch it. All the old Disney stuff you've already seen, and you can probably. I own all of the old Disney stuff. I can just watch it on my DVDs, but there's no reason to like browse Disney Plus like in the same way you would browse Netflix or Amazon.
Yeah, I
does
can't
that
get
make
rid
sense?
of Netflix. I wish I
Yeah.
could. I watch Seinfeld probably every night.
I think
Well, there you-
I think Netflix and HBO Max and places like Hulu and there's other streaming services that have far more of a variety and better
Yeah.
quality type content than Disney Plus. And I say
Right.
that because I look at it every once in a while and I just go, like I don't see much in terms of I don't know, like keeping me looking at it. Like I probably browse Netflix and even Crunchyroll for crying out loud.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
Right.
other content streaming services more so than I do Disney Plus. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's on there? Okay.
Well, I feel like Disney Plus, if you have kids, I understand because kids you
Right.
can put on the old
Mhm.
Disney stuff and that's great at one location, right? But
Right.
I don't have kids, and I've pretty much given up on Marvel. The last thing I saw was Ant-Man and the new one, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
Ugh.
And not
Gross.
only
For
that,
now.
Nadia, to your point there, I think chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been several months ago, but I think like some of the demographics came out in terms of the subscribers of Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and most of the ages are ages where people or the demographics are people with no kids. Like it's like a large variety of people.
Oh, Disney
with
adults though are
exactly. So it's kind of like they're Disney Plus, which is supposed to be supposedly family friendly content and family with kids and everything. It's mostly made up of Disney adults. So it's kind of interesting with that perspective. So who knows where they're not really catering to the kids either because they're not helping themselves with that. So
Right.
it's kind of like that's Disney itself is made for generations to go down for generational children. Like all of us, we all grew up with the like The Lion King, Aladdin, all that kind of stuff.
I love those movies.
And it's kind of like, and even like Treasure Planet and Atlantis, and it's just like we grew up with all of these types of movies, and it's just like we could pass these down to our kids, the next generation. But Disney right now is not doing that. They're not creating content for the next generation. So they're dying out with that. And I've heard it from other friends with kids who are like in the 8, 9, 10 range, whatever, who are more interested in Universal Nintendo
Illumination.
stuff.
Yeah.
They're more interested in that stuff than Disney. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Disney's shooting themselves in the foot right now.
Yeah, they are.
I think the problem too is that Disney used to be a thing where you did not have to pre-screen it for your kids. You could just literally throw your kids in front of whatever Disney movie show came out and not have to pre-screen it for anything. You were safe with Disney. And now because Disney there's obviously certain agendas that they're pushing and stuff, and it's not because I don't want to say these agendas are negative because they're going with the times, but it's not family friendly. Like there are certain agendas that they're pushing that
it's
only
adult
parents
themed.
should be parents should only be talking about these agendas with their kids if they want to be. Where Disney should have been just the ground zero, like everybody from all different walks of life can watch it and put their kids in front of it and not have to worry about having discussions about pronouns and genders and all this stuff. They're no longer like that. And how expensive it is to go to a movie theater. Take it, for instance, Little Mermaid that came out. You as an adult have to go first watch this movie to make sure that your kids can watch this movie.
Yes.
So you have to pay twice going to the movie theaters. And movie theaters are expensive now with the economy and everything. So not a lot of people are willing to put that through. Same thing with Disney Plus. I would not trust my kid to navigate Disney Plus by themselves to find something that I feel comfortable with them watching, unless you lock it to the old movies. That's just how I would feel.
Yeah.
And now with price hikes going up, as well as I think they're ending account sharing in November or something like that. So it's kind of one of those things where people are going to check out more because it's just like because they're going to look at it, the streaming services as enough as it is. If you combine all of them, it's almost the same price as cable. So it's kind of like something's got to give.
I saw an article by IGN. The title of the article was Disney's raising prices for streaming service. Here's how to cancel your account.
Even their parks are expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be that going to Disney World was something a family of 4 can do probably yearly or bi-yearly. Now people save for like years just to go on one trip to Disney, and not even like the high tier of everything. It's ridiculous how expensive. I'm a Universal girl. Go to Universal. It's more
Same.
affordable, I feel.
I want to go to Universal. I would love to go to Universal. That's all.
But I mean,
Yeah.
did anybody watch the trailer for their new movie that it dropped today? Wish.
Wish. Yeah, I saw it.
Yes, and I
took a
did.
peek at it.
I was not impressed.
No. Did you,
No.
Nami?
It's
Did you think
kinda
that
random.
the CGI was kind of terrible, or
Weird.
the animation was kind of weird to me?
It was weird.
Like not
it was
finished.
like it was like movement animation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it was like a different take versus the original animated CGI that Frozen's made out of, Tangled's made out of. It was
Right.
something
It was
different.
almost
and I
2D.
wasn't
It was like 2D
Yeah.
made out of CGI. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it was
Weird.
definitely 2D CGI.
Yeah.
It kind of like falling back into the place of like how Snow White and the other older cartoons were made, was just like different panels to create the scenery. So that's what it looked like for Wish, and it didn't mesh well with the CGI. That's just my take.
Yeah,
on that.
pass. Pass. I'm
Unfinished
gonna.
too.
Even Pixar. I mean, even as an adult, I love Pixar movies. There's some great Pixar movies. Up,
I think
Toy
yeah.
Story. Like,
I think the
The
new
Incredibles,
Pixar.
yes.
There's a new Pixar called Elio, which I kind of think looks pretty fun. I don't know. What do you guys think of that new one?
I
The alien
did not,
one.
I was also not impressed with the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a teaser. They didn't really show much, but I like alien space stuff, so I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. I hope Pixar gets back to being awesome.
being
because they used to
Pixar.
be.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Being
Well, I think
writing
and
series, I last movie that made was Coco. Like based on
Coco,
family,
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
based on things that I'm Hispanic, like things that I grew up with in Mexico with my grandma doing that. I was like, yeah, like that's basic. I am Miguel. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I would-
and then
I would love to
nowadays,
see-
like, ugh.
I would love to see Disney actually expand and do new stories instead of their live action remakes. Those are getting pretty old
They're
to
so
me.
old.
Mhm.
Yeah, relying too much, especially what now they're going to be doing Moana.
Bambi?
Moana's not even that
Yeah.
old.
They're looking at a
Oh,
Bambi
yeah.
live action too, by the
What
way.
do
And
you
they're
Yeah, I
trying
just
to
heard that.
they're trying to dumb down the whole Bambi's mom's getting dying scene. So it's
Oh my
like, I know.
I really think Disney really needs to. I mean, they're not. I mean, don't take advice from me. I'm not. It's above my pay grade. But Disney really needs to look at their numbers and really look at what in the past has been successful, and maybe, just my opinion, maybe take a U-turn on this whole type of different types of storytelling. You want to add your, no, easy. Focus on the storytelling. Don't focus on the agendas you want to put in it. Just focus on telling a good story. That's simple.
Yeah, and don't focus on the politics of the people that you hire.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Just tell a good story and people will enjoy it. And then people, like I said, art is subjective. People will look at it in different points of views. And I mean, you'll become, and go back to your family brand. Your family
Mhm.
brand is what made you money. I don't know why they're so against the family brand of
Mhm.
it.
Family brand, and also stop rehashing the same stories of
Yes.
your IP characters every single time. We don't need new origin stories for superheroes. We don't need
Yes.
yet another retelling of Bambi or Snow White or anything. Make new characters, and these
Right.
studios need to take chances. I think Lofty, you were saying that before. They need to take chances on allowing
Yeah.
new characters and new
Barbie.
stories.
Barbenheimer was the biggest
Mhm.
cinematic event in the last 10 years because it essentially proved everybody wrong that Hollywood no, you don't need to have a sequel or a prequel or a number in front of your movie. People are craving fresh and unique ideas. Barbie is very, very fresh and unique. And if they do more Barbies, that's a bad message to send, I think, because it doesn't need to have another. Maybe you could do a Ken movie or something like Joker.
Yes.
Joker was really good. Joker's another one. Like that's just Joker. Like they're doing a sequel, which is going to take more risks because it's a musical. So I think that's going to do really well. I just take risks. Like you don't need to do Ant-Man 3 Quantumania and make the same movie a third time. Like
Well, and it's
Exactly.
not
I
only,
mean,
not only
I
that,
don't
but
know.
I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of like, oh, the origin story of the villain, and we need to sympathize
Yeah.
with the villain now.
Yeah.
And it's
there are
like,
ton of
Everyone's
fairy tales.
misunderstood. They're not just bad.
There are a
Right.
ton of fairy tales of different cultures that they can milk till the end of time. Like different, they don't have to do their legacy characters. We don't need origin stories for their villains and stuff. If they want to have different races, different genders of heroes and stuff, there are a ton of different mythology and storylines that they can do instead of just rehashing their old stuff constantly.
Yes, there are. And like Logan, I mean, X-23 should have her own movie. I think she did really well. That girl in Logan did a good job.
Mhm.
Yeah, she did.
And then
That was
that
cool.
character is very well liked. Not before that character became Wolverine, which was stupid. In the comic books, she took the mantle of Wolverine, and then she's like, "I'm Wolverine." It's very feminist and gay and stupid, but and the bad kind of feminism. I like feminism, but some of it's stupid. I'm sorry. But
No, you're fine. You're in good
she
company.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
I don't think anyone here is like an extreme.
Yeah.
But I just think she should have her own movie, and then maybe give Storm her own movie. That Storm's a fantastic character.
Mhm.
Oh, Storm is great, especially in the
yeah.
comics. You know,
It's
or give
just-
Rogue
don't
too.
replace Thor with Lady Thor, and like that's weird.
Well, see,
Yeah.
with that, I will say I did like Lady
Well, that's-
Thor's comics,
That's
But-
true. She did have a popular comic book run. That's true.
but the movie I'd be okay with a Lady Thor if you didn't destroy your legacy character Thor and make him look like a dumbass.
yeah.
I would have been okay with her. And that movie, like my husband, it really connected with him because the whole cancer thing. Because I was told 6 years ago I was going to have so like he related to it. But again, don't take. All for strong female characters. Black Widow is a great example of the start of the MCU. But don't use your male characters to hype up your female characters and put them on a pedestal.
Now, Lady Thor may have been a bad example. There's like, for example, Riri Williams as the new Iron Man is an incredibly embarrassing. I don't know if you've ever read that comic book.
No,
but that's the epitome of replacing a character, killing off a character, replacing a character with a strong Mary Sue female, minority character that is a genius, that's smarter than, for some reason, smarter than Tony Stark. Just using the Iron Man logo and the the aesthetic and the iconography to replace it with a woman. And they did it with She-Hulk, and it's like they're doing it.
They did it with Hawkeye.
Too many things.
But it was
Hawkeye,
everybody. They replaced everybody.
do it
already.
once in a while. I don't care. You can have a Spider-Woman. I like Spider-Woman, but don't do it with every single character. Like Captain America now is like the Brit. Is well, they did it with a black guy, but Captain Britain is going to be the next big thing. I'm pretty sure. Peggy or whatever her name is.
Carter. Yeah, they made
Peggy
her.
Carter.
Peggy.
Yeah.
It's just like one. Yeah,
That should have
they
went to
do
Henry
too often.
Cavill. That role,
Yeah,
Captain
much,
Britain, or
man.
whatever.
make your own character.
All right.
Yeah.
On that note, we are at time. So I want to thank everybody. This was fun. This was totally off script, but I had fun talking about movies, especially Barbie. Lofty, where can the people find you?
LoftiPixels YouTube channel, which basically all the whole month, and on Twitter, LoftiPixels. But the whole month of October, I'm doing a bunch of horror stuff. So every week, I'm gonna do. I have a podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're gonna do like underrated horror movies one week, and then we're gonna do like a tier list, top 10 favorite horror movies, stuff like that.
We should
that's cool.
exchange recommendations.
Oh, for
Not
sure.
just- yeah.
And I might be doing a little bit of audiobook narration for some of my favorite horror stories, like short Edgar Allan Poe, Lovecraft,
Oh my gosh,
Ambrose Bierce.
yes.
You're a
Just
man
for
of
fun.
many talents.
I just like doing. I have ADHD, so I have to do 17 different hobbies. That's how I have no choice.
Same.
Fair.
He's
But-
like Ken. He's great at doing stuff.
Stuff. That's all I do.
All
is
kinds of
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, by the way, the thing behind me is artificial intelligence. If you didn't know, it's not actually a real Ken doll. That's how
Oh,
good
it's
AI
AI?
art. That's how good
Really?
AI art is.
Crazy.
If you
Wow,
tell
that's
AI art to
amazing.
make a Barbie doll,
That
they'll
looks-
make it identical. Like you won't even know the difference. It's weird.
I like the fact
Each
that his
Ken.
hands are correct for Ken
Yes.
doll.
I know.
It's weird. Isn't it?
Wow. Oh yeah.
He's
I
got a
did get
little
that
too
on
many
track.
abs, though. Personally, he's a little
Well,
too
Ryan
goofy.
Gosling had like 8 abs in the movie.
He did.
That's true. Lily,
That's
where can
funny.
people find you?
So me and Nomi are everywhere together, basically.
Okay.
So we do Game of Thrones on Mondays with Legion Ryan's channel. And then on Friday, we're doing Friday Night's Royal Rumble as well. And then, of course, every other Thursday here with you guys. And then, oh yeah, sorry, you guys didn't get to see it, but I have to show it off. So you guys thought it was Team Barbie, but it's actually Team Ken.
Team Ken.
Nice. Swap shirts.
I have something for
I'll
you,
swap
Ken.
shirts with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait, I should be wearing the Barbie shirt.
Give me that. Give me that one.
You guys can get this at Hot Topic.
Oh, man.
It comes in black too.
Nice.
Nomi, or are you frozen? Oh wait, for a second you were there. Nomi, where can people find you?
Hi.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, now she's frozen.
Oh
Uh-oh.
Am I-
no.
Oh no.
Oh, you're good now.
guys
You're good now. You're good.
You're good now. You're good now.
You're back.
Okay. Well, I bought this machine to help my Wi-Fi get in my room, and so I can have a better signal. But I guess it's not working. But you can find me on YouTube and Twitter at Know Me Without You. I'm going to be posting videos on Mondays now for more content on my channel. And yeah, like Lily said, we're everywhere together on the internet and almost in real life too. Yeah, so you'll catch us if you follow Twitter. If you follow Lily on Twitter, but yeah, I'm usually on the internet. That's where you can find me.
Mags, how about you? I know you're everywhere.
Yes, everywhere all at once. It feels like.
Hi, Michelle Yo.
Yes, but you can see me. I'm actually gonna try to be on Royal Rumble this week with Lily and Nami and the rest of the gang. So and then maybe
Yay!
yay, maybe on Abyssal, maybe on what is it?
Abyssal
Sam's-
Musings.
Yes, late show.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's another show that I'm on. I'm on Abyssal Musings, and Lily's not there, but still, it's like Lily can still come hang out. But that's
it's a fun late show. And then usually you can catch me on Toxic Femininity on Midnight's Edge on Mondays, and I'm usually like to hang out with the guys on Comics Division on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursday late night. So sometimes I'll be there and sometimes I'm not. But yes, I like to hang out with a bunch of other people, and I'm everywhere all at once, it feels like sometimes. So I will catch everybody later. And of course, remember, y'all, to hit that like and subscribe and that notification bell button so you can catch us in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, spooky season for us
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. We have some big stuff coming. And last but not least, of course, Dr. Rachel, where can people find you?
You can find me at Saran_cosplay on Twitter /X, whatever we're calling it now. And Instagram. I post a lot of my art and cosplay stuff there, and just my opinions on whatever. I have my YouTube channel, Adeline Crafting. If you like cosplay, if you like art, I detail the entire process of making a few things. Right now, I'm trying to finalize my latest video. Was a commission piece for Metroid. I actually made a display Lazy Susan.
Oh, right. You were yeah.
Yep. So the pictures of it came out gorgeous and it was lovely. So I'm working on that video now. I'm also a huge Harry Potter fan myself. Huge Harry Potter fan. And I'm working on a script for Hollywood Scholar YouTube channel all about Dobby. So everything Dobby did throughout the entire book series. So working on that video now. But that's where you can find me.
Very cool. We'll have to have a Harry Potter episode because we're both big nerds. We will educate the rest of them.
Of course.
And for me, I am obviously player one of the Inside All Day podcast. You can find me on Twitter at NerdDollface, and every Tuesday I'm on the Salty Nerd live stream with the guys talking about other nerdy stuff. I want to thank my panel and my guests again. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope everyone had a good time. It got serious, but
Yay.
it's all in fun. Yay!
Yay.
No, it's all good.
And
Thank you.
yeah, golf clap. Golf clap
And
for everyone.
thank you, mods, too.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you, the mods, for watching out for us.
Thank you, Lofty, for being here.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Yeah.
for our
Thank you.
first guest officially.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
who were if you had to choose Ken? There's no other. You can't have anyone other than Ken as your first guest, right?
That's
Right?
True.
That's true. This was all established actually probably on Barbie.
Do you know what's
To
funny?
be honest.
I think that movie made $1 billion because of Ryan Gosling. That's my actual prediction.
Yeah,
I believe
I'm-
that.
I agree.
I
Dead
believe
serious.
it. I believe it because I went and saw it again because I
I
just wanted to
know.
see him in IMAX, the biggest
I
screen
think
available.
it's true. That's funny.
All right. Well, again, thank you everybody. Thank you for everybody for chat. See you guys in 2 weeks to start our spooky season. Bye everybody.
Yay.
Bye, y'all.
Good
Bye.
night.